Our comment section is famous for saying, how do I get land? I need a whole lot of land to start a farm. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need a lot of land to start. You just need a backyard. Here's some tips and techniques to get you started on smaller scale projects. The answer to how much land you need to start really gets broken down into zones. We talk about zones all the time in our permaculture design courses, but we have zone 1. That's what's closest to our house, what's closest to our campsite, what's closest to our cabin, and then we move out from there. And the zones, all they mean are things that we access more frequently. So in zone 1, it's the stuff that we access every day. Maybe our kitchen garden, maybe our chickens, maybe our rabbits, things that we need to water, feed. Those systems are close to the house. The cows might go out into larger systems further away, but the systems that we check every day, those are close to the house in zone 1, and it's designed that way for efficiency. So these zones, they really depend on how big your land is, but zone 1 is very close to the house. This might be a 1/4 acre directly touching it, a 1/2 acre, something like that, not a whole lot, maybe at most an acre, right? But as we get into the zone 2, that is where we span this acre to 2 acres. Think about if you have to walk up there every day, or you're cooking something in the kitchen and you need to grab some herbs. If you've got to walk hundreds of feet away, it's no longer zone 2. So we could have planned better by planting that kitchen herb garden closer to the house, whether that's window boxes in an apartment, whether that's, you walk outside the door and there's some rosemary, thyme, oregano. These plants that we want to access regularly, say we're cooking a pizza on inside, we need to run outside, get them. Herbs de Provence, things that we're going to use about every day, maybe even multiple times a day. And if we want them fresh, we want to step outside the door. On a larger scale, moving into zone 2, this is chickens might roam zone 1 to zone 2, but we want them a little bit further away from the house, but not far enough that we can't go out there and get the eggs all the time. Now, let's say it's firewood production. We don't want that close to the house because that takes years and years. So we're going to go into the woods, chop down the dead trees, manage the forest, but bring that back to the house, and then have the stacked dry wood in zone 1. So it's not really about size, it's about the size that you're on, and everybody depends, whether you want to live in the city, whether you want to live in the county. It depends on what you want. Plant the things that you want to eat. Don't be planting things that you don't want to eat. It's the same with where we put our homestead, and where we put our homestead dictates how much land we're going to have available for production of things. That zone 1 stuff, it really is talking about maintenance level 2. Not 2, maintenance level also, right? How do you want to be having a really mowed lawn? Do you want to have weed-eated edges and that really clean zone 1? Probably you do, because if you're having people over to the house, they don't want to walk through chicken manure, the cow manure, whatever it is. They don't want to walk through that. You want ease of ingress, ease of exit, and that comes in to talk about maintenance. The zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. The zone 5 is a wild area where trees are growing, deer are just running through. Now you might have deer in zone 1 in your front yard like we do, but the zone 5, zone 4 is less managed. Zone 5 being a wild area, zone 4 being we're managing that with chickens or goats or other livestock, whatever it is that you want, in a paddock system, much like we've showed you in this farm project, or rotational grazing. That's your zone 4 area. But these zones talk about maintenance. So again, zone 1, lots of maintenance. Zone 2, less maintenance. Having chickens mow the grass for you. Zone 3, zone 4, now we're moving into paddock systems, rotational grazing, things that you might have to visit once a day or once a week. But the zone 1, lots of impact, lots of your time is going to be spent there. Zone 5, less time. And that is all determined, again, by how much land that you have.
So Scott, when people are asking these questions, on average, how many acres of land are people typically working with, from your experience?
When people ask me that question, it's typically they're looking to get out of the city and they're wondering how much land they need to buy. And that may or may not be the right case, because if you move out from the city, now you don't have the job supporting you. It's a different thing. But if we're talking about people that are asking this question, they're thinking about getting off grid and wondering how much, or thinking about homesteading and wondering how much land do they need. And the answer is really not as much as they think. I kind of think 10 acres is the sweet spot, because you don't need all these large equipment to manage it. And with large equipment comes a lot of expense, a lot of maintenance. You need some place to house it. You need to be using it all the time. The biggest thing that degrades equipment is not using it. So I think 10 acres is kind of the sweet spot because you don't need that equipment and you can kind of manage it at like human scale, using like our mobile chicken coop design, using rotational grazing of animals. Maybe you don't have cows on that because you have a house too, but 10 acres is definitely enough for goats. Buy a little bit of hay production from a neighbor, bring that in to get you through the winter. But I really think 10 acres is the sweet spot. But most of the people asking that question are aspiring to get out on the landscape. We do a lot of consulting for people in the 10 to 50 acre range, 10 to 30 acre range. And then we do some less consulting for several hundred acre farms because they've typically been farms for a long time. They've got their plan together. But as they switch to more of a regenerative practice, that's where we can really bring in the permaculture design principles and make their land more effective. But you really don't need that much to be happy. Happiness comes from inside, not the amount of acreage that you have, right? But I really do think that 10 acres is the sweet spot. Recently on YouTube, I've seen a lot of my friends and people talking about just the sheer workload and how, not unhappy, but overwhelmed they are with the job of just like mowing grass and just like keeping up these larger estates and homesteads. And so again, we're back to keeping it small. And we don't need to feed the world, we just need to feed ourselves and the people around us. I really like the Joel Salatin quote that if 1 in 4 people got chickens, then we wouldn't have to be buying chickens at the store. And we could kind of bring back like a super fresh bartering system because just a couple doors down the street, you'd have somebody producing chickens or producing eggs. And I think that's the model that we're looking for. If we have a lot of very small regenerative homesteads, that's the way that we can supplement and ultimately replace the large agricultural system that's not doing us a lot of good, I think.
All right, Scott, can you recall a time where you got overwhelmed on your homestead and just couldn't handle it?
There definitely, when I first started out, there were times that I felt overwhelmed and I'd bitten off more than I could chew. And so I bought the homestead, 140 acres. I bought that at 25 and thought this is where we're going to build a college type environment for people to learn these skills. What I didn't know is that like the skills that I had learned were only a fraction of the skills that I needed. And so much of like doing the homesteading stuff is learning on the job training. Something goes wrong, you have to fix it, you have to learn how to do it. And I'm really grateful for that because now I know, how to do a lot of things that I didn't before. But you read all these books and you think you're going to be where you want to be in like 3 years. You get your cover crop, you get your fruit trees going, and then you start putting up fencing and do everything that you need to do. And the truth is that it's going to take you like way longer than you think. And I think also as like Americans, we're really like the bravado of, oh, I can do it all myself, and oh, I'm this rugged and tough individual. And the truth is like that we say this, the lessons we learned are written on the tombstones of others. How many of those pioneer rugged people died to get our society where we are now? And it's not until you build a team and build the systems that you can really feel okay at the homestead. I say that if you're bored and if you feel like there's nothing going on, it's because you're not looking hard enough. There's always something to be done. But as you start moving through the list and taking care of priorities, this is the same with business or anything. You take care of the big fires first, put them out, and then slowly things become easier and easier over time. Sure, we have like trees fall on the fence and we got to fix them, or a cow gets sick or something. There's always going to be something that you have to attend to, but it's just time and experience. That's what gets you to the finish line, and the finish line is abundance for yourself, your family, and your community, right? But it's easy to get overwhelmed, particularly when you start, but the more time you get in, the more people you have involved. You don't have to be that rugged individual. You need to pull people into your team and say, this is what I want to build. Do you want to help me? And the people that are on that path and want that same dream, they're going to jump on board with you. Once the ball is rolling and you have some momentum built, things are really great. Those same people that help you, that's your market that you're going to end up selling to because they believe in the vision and they have their hands in. I'm really fortunate. We've got a couple guys working for us now. We've got volunteers that show up to help with projects. And the system is really great because we've done the planning and the cows kind of handle stuff and we're reducing our equipment load and usage, but absolutely felt overwhelmed. And sometimes I still feel overwhelmed, but you just get up and you keep on doing it. And that's the lesson of homesteading. And I guess really anything if you want to be successful, right? Is you just get up, face the challenges, do it, and it gets better and better over time. If you are just starting a homestead and you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out. We've got a lot of free material. We can help you with a consultation. We can take a look at your land using Google Earth and tools like that. And you take from our experience and the experience of the people on our team, and we can reduce that workload for you. If you're thinking about buying land, or even maybe even you've already bought land, please download our free guide and our free resources that you can see in the description, or DM us and we'll get those resources free to your inbox. Our mission is to create and make this easier for people to do, because it's really important for us as a country, for us as people, to get back to the land and have that abundance that nature provides for us. So we want to help you out. We've got a lot of free resources to do that. So it's important that you don't get overwhelmed, because if you quit, somebody is just going to buy your land for cheaper, and there's, you don't want to be the person on the tombstone that everybody else is learning from. So if you think the price of education is expensive, try the cost to ignorance. We want to reduce that cost to ignorance for you with these free guides. So links in the description, and reach out. It's about building community. It's about having friends, and hopefully we're your friend and can help you out doing it more efficiently for yourself.